This is Overwhelmed and Over It, where success doesn't have to cost you your sanity as an entrepreneur. I'm your host, Gabs, and I bring you 10 ish minutes of real founder stories and their real solutions without any fluff, so that way you can build a business without burning yourself out. Let's get to it. I am super excited to introduce everyone to today's guest. Faith and I have become internet friends and we've hung out quite a few times now. And one of my favorite things about you, Faith, was like from our very first conversation, it was just like, how can I help? How can I help you? How can we partner together? Can we teach a workshop together? It was just this instant, like, we're not doing entrepreneurship alone. We know that this thing can be super lonely. So I'm very excited for you to share kind of your founder journey, how you landed in entrepreneurship with the Overwhelmed and Over It community.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here today. I always say that entrepreneurship kind of found me, even though I've owned a side business for 10 years that helped put me through college. I never saw myself as an entrepreneur. Like there's those people that they just say, like, oh, I'm going to be the founder of something or an entrepreneur, or I have to be the boss. I didn't really care. I just wanted to help people. Like that's always been my life mission is to help people. And as I was working kind of throughout the nonprofit, education, public health space, I started seeing a lot of similar trends and issues within a lot of the different organizations I was partnering with. And somehow, some way, the idea came to me like, what if I could help more than just the one agency I work for? But didn't really act on it, like started an LLC and was like, yeah, someday I'll do this. Maybe, maybe not. It's just here in case. But then my husband's career took us to another state. And that was kind of my opportunity to leap head first, not knowing if I was going to be any good at this. But that was June of 2023. So here we are almost 2 years into full time entrepreneurship. The company turns 3 in April, which is crazy. And I'm so grateful that every day I get to wake up and serve my clients, serve my team. And entrepreneurship has just become one of the biggest blessings of my life.
I think for each of us, right, there is this moment, and I think sometimes we don't even slow down enough to look at it or like pay attention, right? But there's this moment, it's like, okay, it's time. You might have been thinking about it, you've been dreaming about it, you've been researching, or you, like you said, you started your LLC and it's been hanging out there waiting. And now it's like, okay, it's time. And I think it's so interesting because for each and every one of us, it's all different. I talk to entrepreneurs all day long, and people are always looking for like, what's that commonality? Like, how do I find myself in their story? Or how do I know like they're successful? So I'm going to be successful. And I think the reality is like, there's always going to be some commonalities, but also everyone's journey is so unique. But if you listen
Yes.
to everyone's journey, there was a moment, whether it was forced or a big change, where it was like, okay, now's the time. You stop looking for the checklist or you stop looking for like how to be prepared. You just, and finally you're like, Here it is. I'm in it. I'm figuring it out. Let's do the thing."
Yes.
So, it sounds like that was finally kind of your moment when your husband's career made a change and you guys moved. Along that time in those last couple of years, have you had, this kind of big light bulb moment that you're like, man, if I had known this or going back, I would have done something differently? What would some of those be that you would share?
Yeah, I think the biggest aha or like if I could go back and change things is really honestly for almost the first full year of being a full-time entrepreneur. I had major imposter syndrome and felt like I needed to be like everyone else, which I feel like is super easy to do in the world of social media, like on LinkedIn and Instagram. Like you see all these successful business owners and entrepreneurs and speakers, and like you just want to be like everyone else. And it was probably like April of last year of 2024, where one day I was just exhausted and I looked at myself in the mirror and was like, what am I doing? Like, I have been doing this entrepreneur thing for almost a year full time, and I feel like I've accomplished nothing. And it was because I couldn't tell you who I served, what I did, like what my specialty was. I wasn't showing up as my authentic self. I was just kind of doing what everyone else was telling me to do. And from that moment, when I sat down and really got strong in my why and who I serve and how I serve them, it was almost this energy shift of I wasn't fighting as hard to find people. It was more so like, how can the right people find me and how can I help connect people knowing that what you give will come back to you? And that honestly was one of the biggest light bulb moments of almost a full year into entrepreneurship of like, I can't just do and be all things for all people. It's exhausting and it's not what I was put here to do.
Oh, I see that a lot, I think more so with, like, our service-based providers, so you and I would fall in
Yes.
that category, right? Because, we wanna help everyone, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you want to do the thing that we help with, we wanna just do it for you. We wanna help you, and so it's very
Yeah,
hard to, like, narrow down our messaging and narrow down who we're talking to, but also, I'm totally with you on the, like, I look back now, and I feel like I lost years of my entrepreneurship journey, and, of
yeah,
course, there is parts of me that's like, you have to give yourself grace. I needed to walk that journey to figure out who I was on the other
definitely.
side, but I remember having a wake-up moment. Why do I wanna make $20,000 a month? Oh, just because that's what all the gurus say is like, "Take this course, take
Yes.
this program, come in this mastermind, I'm gonna show you how to make $20,000 a month." I never had even sat down to figure out how much money I needed to make or how much money I wanted to make or how many hours I wanted to work. It was just like, that's the
Yes,
goal, but that wasn't my goal, that was someone else's goal that they were out there talking about.
exactly. Yeah, I feel like that's so easy nowadays. And every business, every coach, every ad you see on social media is like their way is the right way. And like you've already said, everyone has their own journey, but I feel like as long as you're aligning to your truest self, your values, what you need to accomplish your goals and get the right support along the way, it makes that journey not even easier, I would say more enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's going to be a journey, and
Yeah.
I, like, tell people all the time, entrepreneurship is hard, and if you think it's gonna be hard,
Yeah.
good job. It is, and congratulations,
Yeah.
you won the lottery because that's true. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna have to take risk. I mean, that
Yeah.
I think for me was one of the, like, more eye-opening mentalities I had to, like, navigate is in the beginning, I actually, like, accepted the risk so much that I was just like, "I'll spend money on this, and I'll invest in that, and I'll sign up for this," and I was like, "I'll be everywhere and doing all the things," if that is what success means. To piggyback on what you're saying is, like, there needs to be intentionality behind your journey. It's going
Yes.
to have its ups and downs.
Yes.
It's going to have its challenges, but it's your journey. It's no one else's. Make sure along the way you're still checking in like, are you even headed in the direction that you want to go in? Are you,
Yeah.
even
And are
headed
you
in the
enjoying
direction?
it?
Yeah. It's so easy to lose sight of why you finally decided to just go all in and do this thing, or like why you finally decided to believe in yourself because you've got to work in the business, you have to work on the business, you have to find clients, you have to suddenly be a bookkeeper and an accountant and a marketer and like all these things, and it's you're being stretched literally outside of your skill set
Yeah.
every single day, and it becomes really quick to be like, I'm off the rails here. I don't even know
Yeah.
who I am, what I'm doing, where I'm supposed to be anymore.
Been there.
Amen. Well, I know that you're getting ready to come up on year 3, which is, like, super exciting, and I know just from being, on your newsletter and being friends with you for the amount of time we have now, I truly see you kind of finding your footing and finding your messaging, and you and I have talked about that. But what's next for you? What parts of this next chapter in business do feel scary or overwhelming or this new thing that you have to figure out as you go along?
So I would say the newest thing that I'm trying to figure out is I start writing my first book on burnout, which I'm really excited about and a little nervous because this is a whole new realm for me. But I think it's going to open up a lot of doors. And I know I'm going to heal in the process and hope other people learn throughout as well. And then this is our first year that we actually have a team. I have a intern lined up for the entirety of the year. I have my part-time staff person and me. So it's fun actually getting to operate in that leadership role of being the CEO a little bit more, not just working, behind the scenes. and seeing what opportunities that's going to open up through getting to be more of the public figurehead and not just like you said, the accountant, the marketer, the website developer, but really getting to be out there networking, building intentional relationships, building speaking as a big part of the business, and still serving my clients in a very intentional way.
All the good things, the growth, the changes, all the fun stuff. Well, Faith, I'm really, really excited we got to do this. And I'd love for you to, if you just want to share quickly, like who it is you're trying to connect with this year. So that way our audience can maybe help support you because you just never know who's listening and who has those connections that we all need.
Yes, I always love supporting nonprofits that are really trying to scale and grow. And nonprofits are just businesses that kind of have to give back a little bit more as a part of their mission. So the operational piece is very similar, other than the grants world, which I won't get started on that tangent because I could go nerd out on all things grants. But if you're a small business owner or a nonprofit leader, would love to connect and see what support I can give or what connections I can bring.
Awesome. All right. And we will drop all of Faith's links inside the show notes. That way you can connect with her directly. And like I said, her newsletter is one of the greatest ones I get. She always keeps me on
Thank
my
you.
toes and make sure I know what's going on in the world. So I highly recommend connecting with Faith.
Thank you so much.
That's all for this week's episode of Overwhelmed and Over It. I know being a founder can feel lonely, but you don't have to figure it all out by yourself. If you're craving real talk with other entrepreneurs who get exactly what you're going through, join us in the Brave Starts monthly Q&A circle. It's our judgment-free zone where no question is too basic, too messy, because trust me, we've all been there. You can grab your free spot at thebravestart.com. And please make sure we're connected on LinkedIn. I share daily reminders that the entrepreneurship roller coaster is totally normal. I'm your host, Gabs, and until next week, remember, building a business is hard enough. Let's not make it harder by doing it alone. I'll catch you in the next episode.